just... never gonna stop raining, ever. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Caroline, an artist right here in Mudlandia, where the sun is nothing more than a myth, because it is never going to stop raining, which means I am never gonna get up there to Mount Hood to work on that mural. So the mural up in Mount Hood is on hold until the weather improves, and California is fast approaching, so it looks like I'll have that mural down in California finished before the one in Mount Hood. So, you know, it is what it is. You know what they say, if you want the green summers, you gotta put up with all the rain. But I digress. In today's video, we're gonna do something fun with a beautiful warm sunset. And if you guys haven't done scratch art before, I'll be combining the scratch art style along with painting to create a really cool little piece you could do right at home in just a few minutes. So if that interests you, then stick around for that, and don't forget to check back. Maybe that mural will be done in a couple weeks. You never know. So with that all said, let's get painting. Okay, so I'm working on an 8 by 10 inch birch panel that's primed. I've got my fan brush and some palette knives and my paint. I'm just going to come in with a little bit of white, and that's going to be where the sun is at. And I'm going to work my way out with yellow, orange, red, into the blues. And I'm just using my palette knife and very gently grazing it across my surface here. And being careful not to press too hard, because I don't actually want to blend the paints in like we would with a brush. I want the paints to remain kind of thick and to create a sort of a broken effect. And like always, I'll be sure to link everything that I'm using today down below in the description in case you want to get all your supplies and try this little project out at home. Also, quick reminder that I do have a website, and on that website is a shop where you can buy all of these beautiful little demos. They are available for sale, and shipping is free within the continental US. So I'm just going over very gently now with the orange. Again, I'm not pressing too hard. I really want the paint to remain thick and given a broken sort of effect so that layers over each other. It could be marbled in some areas, that's fine as well, but I don't want to be blending this. So I'm going to be coming in with some red here, and after the red I'll be doing phthalo blue, and then I'll mix some of the phthalo blue in with some white to kind of help break up the blue at the very top. So I remember first doing this when I was a little kid. We actually used, I think, melted crayons on wax paper to do this exercise. But I thought it would be fun to try it out with acrylic paints. And this exercise really is easy enough that anybody can do this, including little kids, under some minor supervision. It's super, super easy, and you really can't mess it up, because what you're really doing is putting down all these bright colors, and then you're scratching into it to show those colors through the black. And you could scratch whatever you would like into your painting. It doesn't have to be a landscape. You could do a bird or a portrait or your puppy dog or some flowers. It could really be anything, and it's going to turn out just great. I do apologize for the glare there on the paint. It's dark out because it's always dark out here now in Oregon, and I had to use the lamps in my studio, but apparently the glare is just a little too bright for the camera. And in case you didn't know, I'm still new to this whole YouTube filming thing. I never took videography in school. I never really filmed anything until I launched this channel just a few months ago. So I'm still learning about how to film and edit and put together these little clips for you guys. And I'm also doing it on my phone, which isn't the greatest thing, but it's all that I have. So I'm still, you know, it's a work in progress. one day I'll get a camera and a functioning laptop and the editing program for said laptop, and I'll have better quality videos. But for right now, all I have is my phone. Okay, so I'm making sure that I am breaking up that red a little bit with the blue because we don't just want straight lines coming across the canvas. We want it broken up to look a little bit more natural. So I am just going through and very gently adding a touch of blue here and there. So now I'm going to go and paint the bottom here with an actual brush because I want the paint to be smooth and blended, and I actually do want this to thoroughly dry before we go on to the next step. So I'm just going to go ahead and mimic sort of what I have going on in the sky and just kind of bring it down a bit. I'm going to be putting a river in here right down the middle, so I want some of that sky yellow and orange to show into that water along with that blue. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't matter if you can see your brush strokes. Try not to overblend though, because we really want these colors to show through as much as possible. Okay, so I am adding some green into the bottom half because there are going to be plants down here, and I'd like a little bit of green to show through some of the scratched areas. Okay, so now that our paint is down, let's have this dry. So once it's thoroughly dry, we're going to go ahead and start painting with our fan brush here, and we're going to be using just plain black paint to put all the plants in the bottom half. So I'm going to drop in a couple big trees on each side and then work my way back with some smaller trees, and I'm just putting that fan brush on its side and tapping down. I'm going to keep doing that, just working my way back in the painting. The trees will get smaller, and I'm also going to make a couple rounder trees because usually there's not just one type of tree in the forest. There are a variety of plants that grow there, so we're going to change things up a bit and make sure we add some rounder trees along with those pines or firs, and we'll put some bushes in too. So I'm going to be working on the right side first, and then the left side after I show you how to scratch into the paint, because you do have to do this kind of quickly. You don't want the black paint to dry. If it starts getting a little too tacky, or if you can't see your colors underneath once you've scratched, you can go ahead and add more black paint and re-scratch that surface. So you want to make sure that your black paint is nice and thick layer of black paint so that it doesn't dry so quickly. You want to make sure that you're brushing it on quickly, but also if it's starting to not brush on very smoothly, you could add a little bit of water, but make sure it's not too watered down. Okay, here's the fun part. I'm taking my palette knife and I'm just scratching right into that black paint, dropping in that tree trunk there. And as I do that, you can see the colors from the background come through the painting. So I'm going to quickly work on the right side here. I'm going to get those trunks in, maybe some branches. I'll try to get some little strips of grass, maybe some rocks, and a little bit of that water scratched in. And then once that's done, I'll move to the left side and repeat the process again. You obviously can use whatever colors you would like for the background. Maybe your sunset is more pink that goes into purples. That would be really nice. Or it could be daylight time with different blues. Or you could really have a lot of fun and do all kinds of things with the background colors. It's totally up to you. So again, I'm just taking my fan brush and dropping in a few tree trunks here, and then I'll rotate my fan brush and tap it on its side to create those limbs of the trees. I'm just repeating the same exact thing I did very quickly so that the paint doesn't dry. And again, my paint is nice and thick. I just have a little bit of water mixed in so that it goes on a little bit smoother. This way the paint shouldn't dry too quickly. Don't be afraid of messing up. You really can't mess up. If you get black somewhere you don't want it, luckily the background painting is dry, so you can wipe it off very quickly with a little bit of water on a clean brush or a little bit of water on a damp cloth. So there's no messing up in this. So I'm going to go ahead and brush in the black on the left side of the painting now, and I'm going to come into that water just a little bit farther because some of the area didn't scratch off. So I'm going to cover up again with the black and then re-scratch it, and that should take care of that water area. You can also scratch in little animals if you want, or flowers, or even some people, maybe a boat, someone fishing. There's all kinds of things that you can actually scratch into this, and you don't have to just use the palette knives. You can use whatever you can find that would make a good scratching tool. I do highly recommend, though, that you have a plan or an idea in mind for your painting of what you want to get scratched in there and where, because you do have to work a little bit quickly when you do this with acrylics. You could probably do this with oils as well. It would take a little longer because you need to make sure that the background of all that color is thoroughly dry before you put on that top layer. And I'm just going to go ahead and start scratching in some rocks and maybe sketch out the water line of my river and maybe add in some more plants on the side here. And I love how all the color just comes right through. Isn't that pretty? It really looks like just a colorful reflection of that sunset in a deep, dark, wooded area. Okay, I'm just using my fan brush loaded up with that black paint, and I'm quickly covering the rest of my painting with a nice thick layer of that black paint. And now I can easily scratch in some more rocks and some more grasses and plants and get this little painting all finished. Also keep in mind, you don't have to just use the very tip of your palette knife to get that fine line. You can use the sides if you want a thicker shape for the rocks or for the water area. I'll show you right there as an example, a nice thicker line. It really helps to bring that color forward a little bit easier. Now, once this is all done, you can actually come back to your painting and put an additional layer over. Perhaps you want some more highlights in your trees, so you can come back with that fan brush and add in a few lighter green touches here and there. You can paint an animal into it. You can just keep layering this painting and then subtracting with your palette knife, and it's just a lot of fun to really work with it and see how it turns out. And I'm just going to come in and very quickly put a bunch of little strokes in here for some tall grasses all throughout this bottom left area so that it helps to really break up that black space. And I think my water's a little bit too dark, so I'm just going to come in really quick and continue to scrape off some more of that black painting to brighten this river up a little. You can also try this painting technique out with mountains. That would look really, really pretty if you paint your mountains black and then scrape away for the highlights. I actually might try that. That sounds like a lot of fun. Let me know if you guys are giving this a go. And I'd love to see how yours turned out. I do have a other video that I did on palette knife painting. So if you're very unfamiliar with using your palette knife, you can go ahead and check that video out. I'll link that down below in the description as well. Okay, so I'm just about done here. I need to work on the bottom right corner. The paint is dry, but I'm going to go ahead and put some more black paint in the bottom right, and then that should help lift up the other black paint that's there since it's dry but not cured, so that we can then see more colors come through. Okay, so this lovely little painting is all finished. Here is a close-up. You can see all those beautiful rainbow colors shining through the back there. And I love the contrast with the bright colors against the black silhouettes of the forest. It just turned out great. I had so much fun doing this, guys. I really hope you liked this one. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I will see you all next week.